Welcome to Rapid Fire Crypto Rundown. Today we're breaking down why Bitcoin took a hit yesterday and what it means for you.
Yeah, it was a wild ride for sure. And the Milk Road newsletter we're diving into today does a great job of unpacking what went down.
Okay, so Bitcoin was cruising along around $95,000, then suddenly, bam, it drops to $92,000. What gives?
Well, one key factor Milk Road highlights is the role of leveraged positions. Basically, imagine people borrowing money to make bigger bets on whether Bitcoin's price would go up or down.
So kind of like putting all your chips on red at the roulette table. Higher risk, but potentially a much bigger win.
Exactly. Milk Road actually uses a hilarious analogy. They compare it to challenging a clown to a wrestling match after one too many wine coolers. The outcome is totally unpredictable.
Okay, I'm definitely picturing that, and it does not sound stable. But how did all this leverage play into Bitcoin's price drop?
Think of it like this. You have a bunch of traders who are leveraged long, meaning they borrowed money betting on the price going up. Milk Road points out there was a big cluster of these folks around the $94,500 mark.
Okay, so if the price dipped below that, they'd be in trouble.
Exactly. They'd be forced to sell to cover their losses, pushing the price down even further. And on the flip side, you have traders who are leveraged short, betting on the price going down. Milk Road shows a bunch of them were clustered around $99,300. If the price went above that, they'd have to buy to cover their positions, driving the price up even higher.
So it's like a powder keg waiting to explode in either direction. But who benefits from all this chaos?
That's where the market makers come in. These are the big players with deep pockets who can actually move the market with their trades. And what's fascinating is that Milk Road's analysis suggests they might have deliberately taken advantage of this whole leverage situation.
Wait, are you saying they purposely caused the price drop to make a profit?
It's not quite that simple, but let's look at the sequence of events Milk Road laid out. First, market makers bought a significant amount of Bitcoin, pushing the price up to that $99,300 trigger point for all those leveraged shorts.
So they basically triggered a chain reaction, forcing those short sellers to buy and drive the price up even higher.
Exactly. And Milk Road notes that the price actually shot up to $104,000. But here's where it gets really interesting. Once the price was nice and high, the market makers then sold a large chunk of their Bitcoin.
Okay, so they were playing both sides. First, pushing the price up, then pulling the rug out from under everyone.
You got it.
Wow.
That sell-off caused the price to plummet this time, triggering all those leveraged longs who were sitting around $94,500. They were forced to sell, pushing the price down even further to $92,000.
Wow, so they created a price drop. A&D profited from it by buying back in at the lower price. That's ruthless.
It definitely highlights the power dynamics at play in the crypto markets. And while it's not illegal, Milk Road emphasizes the importance of understanding these mechanics, especially if you're using leverage yourself.
This is why I love Milk Road.
Yeah.
They don't just report the news, they help you understand what's really going on.
Right.
So what's next? Did this leverage cleanse, as they call it, actually stabilize things?
Well, Milk Road does suggest things might be a bit calmer for a while, at least in terms of leverage. But this is crypto we're talking about. There's always another twist around the corner. And speaking of twists, while everyone was focused on Bitcoin, something interesting was happening with altcoins.
Okay, can't wait to hear about that.
Yeah, definitely worth exploring further.
We'll dive into that right after this. All right, so you were saying that something interesting was happening with altcoins while all the Bitcoin drama was going down.
Yeah. Like amidst all that Bitcoin chaos, something kind of unusual happened in the altcoin market that Milk Road pointed out.
So usually when Bitcoin sneezes, altcoins catch a cold.
Mm-hmm.
But this time it was different.
Exactly. Typically, Bitcoin's price movements kind of lead the way, and altcoins, usually follow suit. But this time around, altcoins barely reacted to Bitcoin's crash.
That point is interesting. So what's Milk Road's take on this? Are altcoins finally breaking away from Bitcoin?
Well, their analysis suggests it might be a sign of something bigger. Maybe even like the start of altcoin season.
Altcoin season. Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me. What exactly does that mean?
So altcoin season is basically this period where smaller cryptocurrencies or altcoins outperform Bitcoin for a while, usually for at least 90 days.
Oh, so instead of Bitcoin leading the charge, altcoins take over and see bigger gains.
Precisely. And Milk Road gives us a couple of key pieces of evidence to support this theory. First, their own altcoin season index. It's this metric that tracks the performance of altcoins relative to Bitcoin. And right now it's saying we are indeed in an altcoin season.
Interesting. And what's that second piece of evidence?
Bitcoin's dominance has dropped significantly in the past month.
Dominance.
Yeah, it's basically Bitcoin's share of the total cryptocurrency market.
Gotcha.
So this drop suggests that money is flowing out of Bitcoin and into altcoins.
Oh, okay. So Bitcoin's taking up a smaller piece of the pie. That means other coins are grabbing bigger slices.
Right. And for anyone who's been following altcoins, this could be a pretty exciting time.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. But if this altcoin season is really happening, any idea how long it might last?
Well, Milk Road does offer like a speculation on that.
Oh.
They suggest this altcoin season could potentially run until Trump takes office in January.
Hold on, Trump. What does U.S. politics have to do with altcoins?
Well, Milk Road is connecting it to that classic buy the rumor, sell the news phenomenon.
Ah, okay.
So the idea is that hype and speculation kind of build up before a major event, driving prices up.
So in this case, the anticipation of Trump's policies, whatever they may be, is fueling the altcoin rally.
Yeah, that's the thinking.
Okay.
And then once he actually takes office and his policies are known, that initial excitement kind of fades and people start cashing out, potentially causing prices to drop.
That makes sense. So it's like a countdown clock is ticking for this altcoin season.
Yeah, something to keep in mind.
Oh.
But remember, this is just speculation for now. It does highlight, though, how even seemingly unrelated events can have ripple effects in the crypto world.
This is why I love these deep dives. It's not just about the price action. It's about understanding the bigger forces at play.
Exactly. And a big takeaway from today's Milk Road analysis is that the crypto market is incredibly dynamic and interconnected. Bitcoin's moves are still important, but it's clear that altcoins are carving out their own path.
So basically, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify, stay informed, and be ready for anything. Speaking of staying informed, folks should definitely check out Milk Road.
Absolutely. They make understanding crypto a breeze. It's like having a savvy friend breaking down the complexities of the market in a fun and engaging way. Plus, who doesn't love a good clown analogy?
Couldn't agree more. The link to subscribe is in the description below. But before you go, I think you had one final thought to leave our listeners with. Something to ponder as they navigate the wild world of crypto.
Indeed. If this much action and these many twists and turns can happen in just one day, imagine what the rest of 2024 holds for crypto. Stay tuned because it's bound to be a wild ride.
We've covered a lot of ground today, from Bitcoin's sudden drop to the potential rise of altcoins. It feels like the crypto world is constantly throwing curveballs.
Yeah, it definitely keeps things interesting. And, that's why resources like Milk Road are so valuable. They can really help make sense of all these twists and turns so you can navigate the market better.
Absolutely. So before we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to walk away with today?
I think the biggest lesson here is that the crypto market is really this dynamic and interconnected ecosystem. And while Bitcoin is still a major force, it's clear that altcoins are carving out their own path and gaining momentum. What we saw yesterday with Bitcoin's price drop and the altcoins' resilience, it really underscores this shift.
So basically, don't just focus on Bitcoin. It's important to broaden your horizons and explore the wider altcoin landscape.
Exactly. Diversification is key, in any investment strategy. And that's especially true in the crypto world. There are just so many exciting projects and innovations happening beyond Bitcoin. And, those who stay informed and adaptable are likely to be the ones who benefit most.
This is why I love tuning into these deep dives with you. It's not just about following the headlines. It's about understanding the deeper trends and forces at play. And Milk Road clearly does a fantastic job of connecting those dots.
I agree. Their analysis is always insightful and engaging, and even a bit humorous sometimes, which, makes learning about crypto a lot more enjoyable.
Well said. Folks, if you're not already subscribed to Milk Road, the link is in the description below. It's a must-read for anyone who wants to stay ahead of the curve in the crypto world.
Absolutely. And remember, as we've seen today, the crypto market is full of surprises. So stay informed, stay curious, and as always, happy investing.
Thanks for joining us for this rapid-fire crypto rundown. Until next time, keep exploring the fascinating world of cryptocurrency.